George. Thanks. Now, in its short lifespan, the social mass yabbering site Twitter has changed the way news is disseminated, the way stalkers track their prey, and the way Jason Manford relaxes in his dressing room. It celebrated its 5th birthday this week with this uplifting promotional video in which entrepreneurs, rappers, politicians, astronauts and arseholes celebrated its inspiring magnificence. But Twitter isn't just for fun. In the past few weeks, it's played a central role in toppling bona fide international hate figures. President Zayn al-Abidine Ben Ali, Hosni Mubarak, Muammar Gaddafi, and now Rebecca Black. Yes, Rebecca Black, a 13-year-old amateur wannabe pop star whose parents paid $2,000 for her to record this song and video called Friday, which became an online sensation thanks to its superb visuals and frighteningly profound lyrics which explore the intangible beauty of Fridays.
Friday, Friday, gotta get down on Friday. Everybody's looking forward to the weekend, Friday, Friday, getting down on Friday. Everybody's looking forward to the weekend.
Yes, it is the world's first song with less than one note. It actually sounds like a wasp trapped inside a polystyrene cup, rasping the words Friday, Friday, gotta get down on Friday forever. Before long, 40 million people saw it, and hundreds and thousands of them were so moved they flocked to Twitter to complain to 13-year-old Rebecca directly, calling her a whore, urging her to commit, not funny, urging her to commit suicide, and genuinely participating in the single biggest act of bullying in world history. A startling number of the most vicious messages seem to come from angry Justin Bieber fans, people who actually enjoy listening to the dickless mewlings of this quasi-sentient boy thing. Just to be clear, a Justin Bieber fan moaning about a banal pop song is like someone gargling a mouthful of skunk piss, complaining that the dog's blown off in the corner. Anyway, this high-tech hate mob did affect Rebecca, as an illuminating interview on Good Morning America made clear.
What's the meanest thing you've read that maybe hurt you the most?
I hope you cut yourself, and I hope you get an eating disorder so you'll look pretty, and I hope you go cut and die. When I first saw all these nasty comments, I did cry. I felt like this was my fault, and I shouldn't have done this, and this is all because of me.
I see, genuinely upsetting stuff. It's impossible not to feel sorry for her there. Still quite an annoying voice, though. But to address the members of the Rebecca Black hate mob directly for a moment, dear imbeciles, thanks to your hard work, Rebecca Black, who you dismissed as a hopeless wannabe, is now a bona fide megastar. Look, here she is on a brilliant edition of The Tonight Show with Jay Leno, just like you'll never be. See, she's famous. Perhaps you'd like a picture of that image to hang on your wall, like this. So you can look at it every morning before going to work in the shitty mega-chain burger outfit you'll be trapped in forever, selling Happy Meals with Rebecca Black's face on them, like this. And as you pass these to customers who accurately look at you like you're nothing, you'll hear Rebecca Black's song looping on the in-store Muzak system while you slave away behind the counter 5 days a week from Monday through to Friday. You better get down on Friday, because that's the day you mop the fucking floor.
Thank you, Charlie. Now, yesterday, George Osborne kicked off his budget for growth by revising the growth forecast downwards. So it's a budget for a little growth. Let's hope it's benign. With me to discuss it is a man formerly tipped as the next housing minister, now housing minister, and tipped to be a former housing minister. Please welcome Grant Shapps. Thank you very much for coming. Now, the Chancellor took a penny off the price of petrol yesterday. Is it right to encourage people's dependence on oil?
Well, people have to get about, and a lot of people find that filling up a car is a pretty expensive thing to do, and that penny off, and actually some more money during the year, because there would have been a whole series of rises which have been cancelled, make a big difference to people, I think, yeah. But,
I mean, but basically, the bigger picture is we've got to use our cars less, the planet's boiling away into space. Isn't that a short-termist sort of crowd-pleasing thing to do, when in fact you should say, well, yeah, oil's expensive, but it ought to be expensive because it's killing us?
The short-termist is people need to get out and be able to get to work, and be able to go about their business, go to whatever they need to do, shops. So, I mean, Petrol has gone up massively. It's very expensive at the moment. I think people appreciate getting a penny off. It's not
no, I'm sure
huge, but
I'm sure they
it's a start under very difficult circumstances.
Yeah, I'm sure they appreciate it. But an environment, a world of having cheap petrol, that would actually be wrong.
Well,
because then people would use it, they'd be like maniacs.
Well, it's not like in the States where petrol's incredibly cheap. I mean, it is very expensive to fill up your car. You can easily be spending 50, 60, 70, 80, 100 pounds on a big family car. It's so expensive that I think that people will appreciate not just that penny, but actually about 5 or 6p not going on over a period of time, cancelled yesterday in the budget.
So basically, if the Americans are using lots of cheap petrol, the planet's screwed anyway, so we might as well enjoy it while it lasts.
We'd have to go a long way.
Yeah.
We'd have to go a long way to get our petrol prices down that far.
Now another thing that happened in the budget, which is more sort of, is particularly your area, is that the money was set aside for the First Buy scheme, which I believe puts £200 million into a scheme quite similar to Labour's Home Buy Direct scheme, to be honest, although I must say I prefer your name for it. But it puts £200 million aside into helping 10,000 people buy houses. Now, is that really a good use of that amount of public money?
Well, so look, here's the thing. A lot of your audience here will appreciate this. The average age of a first-time buyer now is 37. If you don't have support of mum and dad, it's 37 years old. That means lots of people are just cut out of the home market forever, and people want to get a foot on the ladder. They can't get a mortgage because you can't get the deposit together because the deposit required is so large at the moment. So, yeah, I think it's the right thing to do to help people get a foot onto the housing ladder. Although it's 10,000 homes. It's called First Buy, by the way, because it's new homes this time and first-time buyers. But the important thing is that when a first-time buyer comes into the housing market, the whole housing market gets shaken up by that. They have a leveraging effect on it. So, yeah, I think it's a good use of money, and it will help support about 50,000 jobs too.
But isn't the truth, though, is that our houses are massively overvalued, aren't they? We have very expensive houses in this country. They've gone up way ahead of inflation, and this is just going to make... It's not going to help that situation. The fact that people find it so difficult to buy houses, to get on the ladder, is because houses are too expensive.
Yeah, you're right.
So shouldn't we get rid of this aspiration that everyone's got to get on this bloody ladder? Who's footing the ladder? You know, why don't we, you know, why is renting seen as something that everyone wants to get away from?
No, I don't think
shouldn't
renting,
the 200 million go into social housing?
You know what? I don't think renting should be seen as that type of thing at all. I've just put 4.2 billion into social housing, so this is a relatively small amount by comparison. But I do think that you've got to tackle these things from both ends. You're absolutely right. I mean, houses are just so expensive by comparison to somebody's salary. The average deposit is an entire year's saving of your salary after tax in this country. You're right, they're too expensive. They went up 2 or 3 times. The price of a house went up 2 or 3 times just in a 10-year period. So I've called for long-term stability. I've said that actually over the long period of time, we need stability in house prices. We don't need them going up or down, but we also need to tackle the other side of things, which is a lot of people here today who want to get their feet on the ladder and actually be able to live in a decent home. I think you've got to help those people as well, and that's what the budget was about yesterday.
Now, another thing that the budget was about yesterday is that, and this sounds like a great thing, but I'm a bit dubious about it, which is the inheritance tax changes. Whereas if you give 10% of your estate when you die to a charity, that you get sort of that amount rebated from inheritance tax. Is that right?
Yeah, I mean, this is just an idea that you should have much more, you know, people giving for charity, make it much easier to do, and it seems like a good way to help people to achieve that.
Because I like the sound of that, but because I immediately think sort of Oxfam and the Red Cross. But of course, there's nothing to stop people leaving that money to Eton College or the Countryside Alliance. Is there?
I don't think that Eton's a charity. I've no idea, but
I think
and I don't know about the Countryside Alliance.
All independent schools have charitable status.
Well, I guess people have to make their own decisions. Personally, I'm a member of Amnesty International. I might decide to give it to them. Who knows?
I mean, that would be great. But don't you think for that system to work, you need to say, well, these are proper charities, and then these are organisations that are pressure groups or independent schools that have charitable status. Otherwise, people will just use this to squirrel money away into various trusts and...
I'm really pleased we have the Charity Commission to work out who the proper charities are. But I mean, I think it's a
Well, I think they're wrong, because I think Eton College is taking the piss.
Having never been to the place, I don't know, and I don't know whether it's a charity either, but I think there are thousands, millions of good charities. People will be able to have plenty of choice where they give their money.
Yes, yes, OK. Well, I've restricted just to the nice ones. But now, you're a keen aviator. So, do you think that the Chancellor's tax on private jets is unfair on hard-working families with aeroplanes?
No, actually, I think it's the right thing to do. I'm a sort of aviation hobbyist and enthusiast, a geek. You know, sort of microlights upwards, but not jets. I think it is right to tax the, you know...
Tax the people with big aeroplanes,
I think,
but
you know,
normal people with small aeroplanes.
I think ordinary folk with... No, I just think that people feel that... It's the same with the banks. People feel that actually everyone has to contribute, and, you know, I think probably corporate jets and the like could be contributing. Yeah. And the same with, you know, bringing down tax on... corporation tax on businesses. 2% reduction, corporation tax on businesses, but actually when it comes to the banks, the Chancellor's made sure that they don't get that discount.
I'm afraid I have to wind it up there for the reasons of commerce, because the advertisers are screaming. Thank you very much, Grant Shapps.
Don't demean yourself, you needn't. Welcome back to 10 o'clock Live. We are nearly at the end of tonight's show, but I feel we can't really not mention the fact that this time last week, we sort of announced a war. It was a weird moment on the show.
It feels very odd that the UN resolution...
strange.
We reported the announcement. It wasn't our idea.
That's important to say, yeah. It feels odd to me that the UN resolution happened, that they went in, because for me it was very much like when Ross and Rachel got together on Friends. I really wanted it to happen, but when it did happen, I sort of went, well, where are we now? Yeah. What happens next? You've sort of painted yourself into a corner. A little. Sorry, I don't want to, you know, trivialise Friends.
Are you saying like in a sitcom when the will they won't they the couple gets together, then the sitcom often ceases to be as funny?
I think Libya may have jumped the shark.
Right. Yeah.
Sure. I mean, you know, we are a week on. Obviously, I don't really feel any clearer about whether it's a good thing or not. William Hague, crystal clear, luckily. Yeah. He said that the case for intervention remains utterly compelling. The ceasefire promised by Gaddafi is an utter sham. You know, but then he's gone on to address Bahrain and said that dialogue should take place to address the legitimate concerns of its people wanting political reform. What does this imply? That we're going to then go on to sort of police other bits of the world?
It does set a precedent, doesn't it?
Well, we could start a new war every week. Yeah. I think the thing is, Hague has to say he's really sure, though.
Of course,
you know, whatever, you know, if he can't go, ooh, I'm a bit worried about this, but fingers crossed, you know, glad I'm not a soldier. You know, you either do it or you don't, and if you're doing it, you say, absolutely, 100%, and then years later, you either go, we were right all along, I was always sure, or I'm so sorry about that.
Yeah, but like, I mean, sort of semi-seriously, in the Ross and Rachel style, like, what next? I mean, you know, the King of Bahrain, is he going to be uninvited to the royal wedding, or are Wills and Kate just going to have a really tricky seating plan to deal with, or who sits next to him? What happens?
It is odd. A lot of people have been complaining about fuel prices this week because of the budget, because fuel prices they came down by a penny, but effectively they've gone up because of the VAT. And it strikes me that it's if people are worried about petrol prices, the right thing to do is invade Bahrain, you know, Libya. There's a lot of oil there. It's basically made of oil.
Yeah. It's amazing that upside never gets mentioned.
Listen, speaking of upsides, this is tomorrow's newspaper, tomorrow's Daily Express, and I did find some good news here. You can see there, weather, warm and sunny. Not sure that the camera can get close enough, but the rest of it a little bit grim. Charlie, what have you got?
Well, all of tomorrow's papers look really depressing. I got them, genuinely got them to censor the Daily Mirror. This is tomorrow's Daily Mirror with all the depressing news removed, except for this down here. I don't know if you can see that there. It says camp for 95p.
Oh. It's basically an advert for being a homeless person.
Right.
It does say Friday here, which is cheap.
Friday,
yeah. Got to get down on Friday.
Right, you lot, that is all we've got time for tonight. We will see you next week. Have a lovely one. Back next Thursday, all right?